The bakery line moved fast that Saturday morning. Customers came and went with boxes tied in ribbon, cakes stacked in bags, smiles on their faces. But when the little girl reached the counter, everything stopped. She was maybe 7 years old. Worn sneakers, faded purple jacket 2 sizes too big. Her small hand clutched a crumpled dollar bill like it was made of gold. "I need a birthday cake for my mama," she whispered. The cashier didn't even look up. "Cakes start at $15, but it's her birthday tomorrow." "I saved this whole dollar." "Then you need $14 more." The woman's voice cut like ice. "Move aside. You're holding up the line." Behind that little girl stood a man in a tailored suit, gray at the temples. Quiet eyes that had seen everything. Nobody in that bakery knew who he was. They didn't know his name was on buildings across 3 states. They didn't know he'd grown up in a neighborhood just like the one this child came from. But he knew something nobody else did. He knew what it felt like to stand in a store with empty pockets and a heart full of hope. What happened next froze that entire bakery. It made the cashier's face go pale. It brought tears to strangers' eyes. And it reminded everyone in that room that humanity isn't measured by the money in your wallet. This is the story of Amara, a little girl with $1 and a dream. And the moment that proved kindness doesn't cost a thing. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Amara lived with her mother, Diane, in a small apartment on the east side of town. The building was old. Paint peeled from the walls. The elevator only worked on good days. But inside apartment 3C, there was love. So much love it made up for everything else. Diane worked 2 jobs. Mornings at the hospital cafeteria, evenings cleaning office buildings downtown. She left before Amara woke up. She came home after Amara was asleep. She always left notes on the kitchen table. "Good morning, baby. Oatmeal's in the pot. Remember to lock the door. Love you bigger than the sky." Amara kept every note in a shoebox under her bed. Her mother's birthday was coming up. April 14th. Amara had been planning for weeks. She wanted to do something special, something that would make her mama smile the way she used to before the bills got too high and the hours got too long. Only a cake. It's what birthdays needed. A real cake from Miller's Bakery on 5th Street. It's the kind with frosting flowers and writing that said happy birthday in perfect cursive. So Amara started saving. She collected cans from the recycling bins behind the school, 5 cents each. She helped Mrs. Chen from apartment to carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs. 25 cents. She found coins on sidewalks, in the laundromat, under vending machines. It took her 3 weeks to save $1. $1 felt like a fortune in her small hands. Saturday morning, she walked 6 blocks to Miller's Bakery. The April sun was warm on her face. She practiced what she'd say. "1 birthday cake, please, for my mama. She's the best mama in the world." The bakery smelled like sugar and butter and happiness. Glass cases displayed rows of perfect cakes. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. Some had ribbons made of frosting. Some had tiny flowers that looked too pretty to eat. Amara's heart swelled with hope. She waited in line patiently, counted her dollar 3 times to make sure it was still there. When she finally reached the counter, she stood on her tiptoes to see over the edge. The cashier was a woman named Brenda. Thin lips, eyes that looked tired of people and problems. "I need a birthday cake for my mama," Amara said, her voice small but brave. Brenda didn't smile, didn't bend down to the child's level. "Did I ask about the birthday or the mama or the hope shining in that little girl's eyes?" "Cakes start at $15. The words landed like stones. Amara's smile faltered. "But I have $1. Saved it for 3 whole weeks. "Then you're $14. Brenda's tone was flat. "Final. Move aside. You're holding up the line." But just when she thought life was hard enough, things took a darker turn. The people in line behind Amara started to shift. Uncomfortable, impatient. "Come on, kid," someone muttered. Amara's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't move. Duh. Her hand gripped that dollar so tight it started to tear at the edges. "Please," she whispered. "It's for my mama's birthday. She works real hard. I just want to make her happy." Brenda's face hardened. "Listen, sweetheart, this isn't a charity. You don't give away cakes because you've got a sad story. Everyone's got problems. Now move." A few people in line nodded. One woman checked her watch loudly. The message was clear. "Your pain is inconvenient. Amara's bottom lip trembled. She looked down at her dollar. At the cake in the case with pink frosting roses, at her worn-out sneakers that used to be someone else's. Shame washed over her. Hot and heavy, she turned to leave. That's when the man behind her spoke. His voice was quiet but clear. Wait, everyone looked at him, tall, well-dressed, the kind of man who belonged in boardrooms, not neighborhood bakeries. His suit probably cost more than Amara's rent. He stepped forward and placed his hand gently on Amara's shoulder. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amara," she whispered. "Amara, that's beautiful. It means eternal. Did you know that?" She shook her head. He smiled, warm, real, the kind of smile that made you feel seen. "My name is Isaiah, and I think what you're redoing for your mother is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen." Amara blinked up at him, confused. Isaiah turned to Brenda. His voice changed, still quiet. But now it carried weight. Authority. The kind of voice people listen to. "She said she needs a birthday cake for her mother. I already told her," Brenda started. "I know what you told her." Isaiah's eyes didn't leave the cashier's face. "Now I'm telling you something. This young lady came here with hope in her heart and $1 in her hand. She saved for 3 weeks. She walked 6 blocks. She asked politely. And you treated her like she didn't matter." Brenda's face flushed. "Sir, I'm just doing my no." Isaiah's voice was firm. "You're not doing your job. Your job is to serve customers, as she is a customer. And right now, you're going to give her the best birthday cake in this bakery. Sir, she only has $1. Isaiah reached into his jacket, pulled out his wallet, but he didn't open it yet. "Before we talk about money," he said, "I want everyone in this bakery to understand something." He looked around at the people in line, at the bakers in the back, at Brenda behind the counter. "This little girl has more dignity and courage than most grown adults I know. She didn't beg. She didn't steal. She worked hard. She saved every penny. She came here with respect and hope. She was met with coldness and judgment." The bakery was dead silent. "So here's what's going to happen," Isaiah continued. "Not only is this young lady going to get her birthday cake, she's going to get any cake she wants, any decoration she wants, and anyone else in this bakery who wants something today. It's free. Everything. On me." Gasps rippled through the room. Brenda's jaw dropped. "Sir, you can't just—" "I can. And I will." Isaiah finally opened his wallet. He pulled out a black credit card and placed it on the counter. "Ring up every customer in here, every cake, every pastry, every cookie. I'll cover it all. But if you think that was heartbreaking, wait until you see what came next." Brenda stared at the card like it might explode. Her hand shook slightly as she picked it up. When she read the name embossed on it, her face went white. Isaiah Montgomery. The Isaiah Montgomery. Owner of Montgomery Industries. Real estate mogul, philanthropist. His face had been on the cover of Fortune magazine 3 months ago. His foundation had donated millions to schools, hospitals, and community centers across the state. And he was standing in her bakery, paying for a little girl's birthday cake. Brenda's voice came out small. "Mr. Montgomery, I didn't know you didn't need to know who I am," Isaiah said quietly. "You just needed to treat a child with kindness that doesn't require wealth or recognition. It requires humanity." Tears pricked Brenda's eyes, not tears of sadness. Tears of shame. Isaiah knelt down to Amara's level, eye to eye.
"Now, young lady."
"Which cake would your mama love?" Amara's tears had stopped. Her eyes were wide with wonder and confusion. The one with pink roses. Perfect choice. What do you want it to say?" "Happy birthday, Mama. Love, Amara." Isaiah nodded. "Brenda, make it happen. And make it the most beautiful cake you've ever made." Brenda nodded quickly. Her hands moved fast as she wrote down the order. Yes, of course. Right away." But Isaiah wasn't done. He looked at the other customers in line. An elderly man holding a cane. A young mother with a toddler on her hip. A teenage boy in a fast food uniform, probably on his lunch break. A woman in scrubs who looked like she'd just finished a double shift. "I meant what I said," Isaiah announced. "Everyone here gets what they came for. Free of charge." At first, nobody moved. It felt too good to be true. It's too generous. Too impossible. Then the young mother spoke up, her voice shaking. "Are you serious?" Completely, tears filled her eyes. I was just going to get my son a single cupcake for his 3rd birthday. I couldn't afford anything else. Isaiah's expression softened. Get him a whole cake, with candles and balloons if they have them. The mother broke down crying. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. One by one, people started ordering. The elderly man got a chocolate cake for his wife's anniversary. Teenage boy got a dozen donuts to share with his coworkers. The woman in scrubs got a pie for her daughter's graduation party. Brenda and the other bakery staff moved quickly, boxing up orders, writing names, tying ribbons. The whole energy of the bakery had shifted. What started as cold and transactional had become warm, human, beautiful. But Amara just stood there holding her dollar, looking up at Isaiah. Why did you do that? She asked. Isaiah smiled. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a faded photograph, worn at the edges. He showed it to Amara. In the photo was a young boy, maybe 8 years old, thin, standing in front of a corner store. He wore clothes that were too big and shoes that were falling apart. But he was smiling. That's me, Isaiah said. 40 years ago. Amara's eyes widened. I grew up in a neighborhood like yours. My mama worked 3 jobs. We didn't have much. But I loved her so much, just like you love yours. His voice grew quieter, heavier with memory. When I was your age, I wanted to buy her a birthday present. I saved up $2. Took me months. I walked to the store and tried to buy her a necklace I saw in the window. It cost $15. Amara's breath caught. She knew where this was going. The man at the counter laughed at me, told me to stop wasting his time, told me I didn't belong in his store. Isaiah's jaw tightened. I went home crying, empty-handed. I felt so small, so worthless. What happened? Amara whispered. My mama found me crying in my room. I told her what happened. And you know what she said? Isaiah's eyes glistened. She said, baby, your love is worth more than any necklace. And one day you're going to be in a position to make sure no other child ever feels that way again. Amara's heart squeezed. She was right, Isaiah continued. I worked hard, studied hard, built a business, and I made myself a promise. Every time I see someone being treated like they do and matter because of how much money they have, I'm going to do something about it. He placed his hand gently over Amara's small fist, still clutching that dollar. You don't need to give me that dollar, Amara. Your love for your mother, it's already worth everything. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, something incredible happened. Amara started crying, not sad tears, happy tears. The kind that come when your heart is too full to hold it all inside. Isaiah pulled out his phone. What's your mama's name? Diane Carter. He typed something quickly. Then he looked back at Amara. What time does your mama get home from work? Real late? Like 10 o'clock? Isaiah nodded. And where do you live? Amara told him the address. Apartment 3C. The building with the broken elevator and peeling paint. Isaiah made a phone call, stepped away for a moment. Amara couldn't hear what he said, but she saw him nodding, smiling. When he came back, his eyes were bright. Amara, I have a question for you. What's your mama's favorite color? Purple. It's like my jacket. She gave me this jacket. It was hers when she was little. Isaiah's expression softened even more. Okay. And what else does your mama love? Besides you, of course. Amara thought hard. She loves flowers, especially sunflowers. She says they turn their face to the light even when it's hard. Your mama sounds like a wise woman. She is. She's the best. 20 minutes later, the most beautiful cake Amara had ever seen was placed in front of her. 3 layers, purple and yellow frosting, delicate sunflowers made of sugar, and in perfect cursive, Happy birthday, Mama. Love, Amara. Amara gasped. It's perfect, just like your love for her, Isaiah said. But he still wasn't done. He knelt down one more time. Amara, I need you to do something for me. When you give your mama this cake tomorrow, I need you to tell her something. What? Tell her that her hard work matters. Tell her that she's raising a daughter who understands love and sacrifice. Tell her that she's doing an amazing job, even on the days when she feels like she's failing. Amara nodded, her throat tight. And tell her, Isaiah continued, that sometimes angels show up in bakeries, and that she's got a whole community of people who believe in her. Amara threw her arms around Isaiah's neck, hugged him tight. He hugged her back, blinking away his own tears. The entire bakery watched in silence. Some people were crying, some were smiling. All of them were witnessing something rare and sacred, pure human kindness. Isaiah helped Amara carry the cake to the door, but before she left, he handed her something else. An envelope. "Don't open this until you get home, promise? I promise. Good girl. Now go be safe. Give your mama the best birthday she's ever had." Amara walked home with the cake box in her arms and the envelope tucked carefully in her jacket pocket. She felt like she was floating, like the whole world had just proven that goodness was real. When she got home, she placed the cake in the refrigerator. Then she sat on the couch and opened the envelope. Inside was a letter and a check. The letter read, "Dear Amara and Diane, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe I was meant to be in that bakery today. I believe I was meant to meet a little girl who reminded me why I do what I do. Enclosed is a check for $10,000. Use it however you need. Bills, rent, groceries, school supplies, whatever helps. But more than the money, I want you to know this. You matter. Your story matters. Your love matters. Diane, you are raising a daughter who understands sacrifice, love, and dignity. That is the greatest gift a parent can give. Amara, you reminded me that the smallest gestures a dollar saved, a cake desired, a heart full of love can change the world. Never forget your worth, either of you." With deep respect and gratitude, Isaiah Montgomery Amara read the letter 3 times, looked at the check with all those zeros. Then she carefully folded both and placed them back in the envelope. She didn't tell her mother when Diane came home that night, exhausted and dragging her feet. She wanted it to be a surprise for the birthday. So what does all this mean for us today? This story isn't just about a cake. It's about dignity. It's about being seen. It's about the way the world treats people based on what they have instead of who they are. Every single day, people like Amara walk into stores, offices, schools, and spaces where they're judged before they even open their mouths. Judged by their clothes, their address, the money or lack of it, in their pockets. And every single day, people like Brenda make quick decisions about who deserves kindness and who doesn't. But here's the truth. Kindness isn't conditional. Dignity isn't earned through wealth. Humanity doesn't come with a price tag. Amara had every right to walk into that bakery with her dollar and her hope. She had every right to be treated with respect. She had every right to leave with her head held high, whether she could afford the cake or not. The fact that she almost left in tears, humiliated and heartbroken, tells us everything about how far we still have to go as a society. Think about the children watching this video right now. How many of you have stood in a store, a classroom, a space where you felt small because of what you didn't have? How many of you have been treated like you didn't matter because your parents didn't have enough money or the right job or the right address? That pain is real. That shame is real. But so is the other side of this story. Isaiah could have walked past Amara. He could have paid for his own items and left. He was rich, successful, busy. He didn't know that little girl anything. But he stopped. He saw her. He remembered his own pain. And he chose to do something about it. That's the power of empathy. That's the power of remembering where you came from. That's the power of using your privilege, whatever it may be, to lift someone else up. Now, let's talk about Brenda for a moment, because it's easy to make her the villain. It's easy to say she's heartless or cruel. But the reality is more complicated. Brenda was doing her job, following the rules, protecting the business. In her mind, she probably wasn't being mean. She was being practical. But that's the danger. When we become so focused on rules, policies, and practicality that we forget to see the human being in front of us, we lose something essential. We lose our compassion. How many times have you been, Brenda? Not in a bakery, but in life? How many times have you dismissed someone's pain because it was inconvenient? How many times have you followed the rules instead of following your heart? We all have. That's part of being human. But the lesson here is that we can do better. We can pause, we can look, we can see the person behind the request. Now let's talk about Diane, the mother who worked 2 jobs, who left love notes on the table, who gave her daughter a jacket and told her stories about sunflowers turning toward the light. Diane represents millions of parents, especially. Black mothers who are doing everything humanly possible to provide for their children, who work multiple jobs, who sacrifice sleep, health, and time just to keep the lights on and food on the table. And often they do it invisibly. Society doesn't celebrate them. They don't get awards or recognition. Just keep going, day after day, pouring love into their children even when they're exhausted. Amara saw her mother's sacrifice. She understood it, and she wanted to give something back. That's powerful. That's beautiful. That's the kind of love that changes generations. So what can we take from this story? First, never underestimate the power of a small gesture. Amara had $1, that's all. But that dollar represented weeks of work. It represented love. It represented hope. Value isn't measured by amount. It's measured by intention. Second, treat everyone with dignity. You never know what someone is going through. You never know what it took for them to walk through your door and ask for help. Choose kindness, always. Third, remember where you came from. Isaiah could have forgotten his past. He could have distanced himself from the boy he used to be. But he didn't. He carried that memory with him, and it made him better, more compassionate, more human. Fourth, use your power for good. If you have resources, money, influence, platform, time, use them to lift others up. Don't hoard them. Don't guard them. Share them generously. And finally, love is the most valuable currency in the world. More than money, more than status, more than anything else. Love is what matters. Love is what lasts. Love is what changes everything. Before we wrap up, there's one final truth you need to hear. The next day was Diane's birthday. She came home at her usual time late, exhausted, smelling like cleaning products and hard work. Amara was waiting by the door. "Mama, close your eyes." Diane smiled, tired but curious. "Baby, what are you up to? Just close them, please." Diane closed her eyes. Amara led her to the kitchen table. On it sat the cake, glowing with candlelight. It's the purple and yellow frosting, the sugar sunflowers. It's the perfect cursive writing. "Okay, open." Diane opened her eyes. For a moment, she just stared. Then her hands flew to her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Amara, how did you? I saved my money. And a nice man helped me. Mama, there's more." Amara handed her the envelope. Diane's hands shook as she opened it. She read the letter once, twice, 3 times. When she saw the check, she broke down completely. She pulled Amara into her arms and held her so tight, sobbing, not sad sobs, grateful sobs, overwhelmed sobs, the kind that come when you realize you're not alone. When you realize that someone sees you, when you realize that all your hard work, all your sacrifice, all your love, it matters. "You are the most amazing daughter in the entire world," Diane whispered into Amara's hair. "You are my light. You are my sunflower." They sat at that small kitchen table in apartment 3C and ate purple and yellow cake until CEOs their bellies were full and their hearts were fuller. But there's one more thing you need to know. 3 weeks later, Diane received a phone call. It was from Isaiah Montgomery's foundation. They wanted to offer her a full-time position with benefits working in their community outreach program. Better pay, better hours, health insurance, chance to help other families like her own. Diane took the job. Within 6 months, she and Amara moved into a safer apartment, a building with a working elevator, fresh paint, a view of the park. Amara started at a new school. She joined the art club, made friends, thrived. But she never forgot that day in the bakery. And neither did Isaiah. Years later, when Amara graduated high school at the top of her class, Isaiah was there in the audience. When she gave her valedictorian speech, she told the story of the dollar, the cake, and the man who saw her. "That day taught me that humanity isn't about how much you have," Amara said, her voice strong and clear. "It's about how much you give, how much you see, how much you care. My mother taught me love, and a stranger taught me that love can change the world." The audience stood and applauded. Diane cried in the front row, her heart bursting with pride. Isaiah approached them after the ceremony. He hugged Diane, hugged Amara, and he handed Amara one more envelope. Inside was a full scholarship to any university she wanted to attend. "You changed my life that day," Isaiah said quietly. You reminded me why I survived my own childhood, why I built what I built, why it all matters. It's the least I can do. Amara went on to study social work. She dedicated her life to helping families in poverty. She opened community centers. She fought for policy changes. She became a voice for the voiceless. And every single time she walked into a room, she carried that memory with her. The memory of being 7 years old, holding $1, standing in a bakery, and being seen. This story is a reminder that we all have power. It's power to hurt or heal, power to ignore or see, power to judge or love. The world is full of Amaras. Children with hope and love and empty pockets. People trying their best with what little they have. Families struggling to survive while holding on to dignity. And the world is full of Isaiahs. People who remember pain, who choose compassion, who use their resources to lift others. But the world is also full of Brendas. People who follow rules without seeing souls. Who protect systems instead of people. Who forget that kindness doesn't cost a thing. Which one will you be? When you see someone struggling, will you turn away? Will you judge them? Or will you stop, look them in the eye and say, I see you. You matter. Let me help. That choice is yours. Because sometimes the hardest stories are the ones that heal us all. Sometimes $1 and one moment of kindness can change everything. And sometimes a little girl in worn-out sneakers can teach the whole world what it means to love.